of tuberculosis cases within 3 years. Why the increase? Meanwhile, we should be having a decrease of the set disease tuberculosis.
Some of these diseases, when you hear about an increase, it takes one unaware, because to an extent we think we've gone past the days of tuberculosis, maybe because we don't hear it too often.
Yeah.
But these are still diseases which may not have attacked you or someone you're used to, but it still has an impact. It's taking away lives, and people are dying every day due to this disease. I just think basically it's a call. It's a call. It's an awareness which the paper is raising this morning for stakeholders in the health sector to intensify their work, and as well for the general public to be reminded that tuberculosis, just like maybe HIV, just like AIDS and other killer diseases, are still around the corner. So you would want to try as much as possible to reach out to the hospital when you have some symptoms which are not so likely, and see if you could do a test and get treated if you're sick of this.
Of course, definitely. And remember, the health sector on the year section 2 on municipal updates for today says to curb infant mortality in the country. The Carrefour Policy Institute crusades private health insurance for Cameroonians. But in a country where they said insurance companies are more like how can I put it? I'm looking for an appropriate word. I don't want to sound bizarre. They are more like dubious when it comes to providing insurance, most especially health insurance, to the country. So the paper is advocating for persons to get inscribed on the private health care insurance policy in order to curb infant mortality.
I think whether we like it or not, insurance to an extent has succeeded in the Western world, and we need to look at aspects in our own context to better the services being offered. It's rather unfortunate that in our context there is so much of irregularities, maybe as well from the clients who take on the insurance. You know, all of these things have to do so much with legality, and once you have that lacking, you're unable to benefit in the long run. Away from this private sector, I think the government of Cameroon too is trying to do something in terms of healthcare. There would be the phase 1 of the universal health coverage, which will be launched very soon. A program, it's for everybody, but maybe the first phase will be targeting pregnant women and children 0 to 5 years, where for the children 0 to 5 years they will be given healthcare for free after being pre-enrolled, of which pre-enrollment is currently going on in the community. So I think generally this issue of healthcare is really it's a time which we need to look into it, because health is wealth. And as well, I think the government is trying its possible best, and the private sector as well needs to come on board. I know maybe about BFA, for the Catholic bishops,
for the Catholic Church,
which runs an offer just like a health insurance and something, and there are a couple of others. I think all we need to do is to try as much as possible to reconfigure these offers to ensure that they are appropriate, they are able to help our communities, not exploit them, and we see how we can better community save lives in our nation.
Definitely something that we need to work upon with adequate measures and making it come to see the light of day. We crossed over to La Voix des Jeunes. La Voix des Jeunes newspaper for this morning talks of new generational leadership in the continent of Africa. It says Senegal speaks to Cameroon, making reference to the 44-year-old who was elected as the 5th president of the Senegalese Republic.
Larry, that's a very interesting story. You know, once I think about that, I remember I think the early months of or the early days of March, or is it February? February, I guess, during the birthday of the president of the Republic of Cameroon.
Well, I know where you are driving. Driving at. I know where you are driving at. Just go ahead. We are we're listening.
The youths of the Southwest, on their part, raised motions of support.
Yeah. And the leader is 44-year-old. The leader of that association is a 44-year-old.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah. What a contradictory and what a terrible similarity.
It's really terrible. Calling on President Paul Biya, an octogenarian, he should be in his 80s, or I think 92, or was it 93?
90 something.
To stand in for the 2025 presidential elections,
which is next year.
He's the most favorable candidate. He's the one who would think is able to deliver, and that was tricky because the youth in other countries are looking at how much they can engage and take over the country. In our own country, the youth say the old man is okay, does the job so well. The young cannot even get to his position, so he should be maintained. I think the problem we have in Cameroon is the youths.
Okay.
Is the youths, because they don't think that there is a problem. And the first step in solving a problem is to see that there is one.
Of course, identifying the problem.
Right. So I think it's really a call for concern. Senegal has a 44-year-old president. In top government in this country, I don't remember seeing the 44-year-old. But then most of them
the late man who died, the man of mines, energy, mines
the
industry, Gabriel Dodondoki. He too was that
age. That's not a stop.
Yeah,
as we want to put it. We're looking at the president, the head of the Senate.
Yeah.
The president of the National Assembly.
Don't even go there.
The prime minister. And we're looking at these people, and it will surprise you to remember, if you're good with your history, that most of these people came in to government
very
pretty young, in their 20s.
Paul Biya got into government, I think he was 27 or 20 when he was appointed. I think assistant secretary or something of, I can't remember.
Look at how much young they were, and they've been there since time immemorial. And
they keep
in fact, they will still be there according to the support the youths are giving them to maybe the rapture of the church.
Anyways, let's dwell on this thematic area of Senegal. You know, Senegal is a democracy where, let's say for West Africa, for instance, we have seen a resurgence of coups in this particular region of Africa. Within a shorter period of time, we have had multiple of such coup d'etats. But with this Senegalese example coming out, and you see the gentleman is coming from an opposition party, and he was in prison by the set outgoing administration of Macky Sall due to their stand when it comes to reforms of the Senegalese people. Don't forget the incumbent, the outgoing president Macky Sall wanted to seek a 10th term.
Contrary to the constitution.
Yes, contrary to the constitution. We haven't seen this coming up, most especially in Francophone African countries. But people say no, the youth say no. They went on rampage. They took to the streets to denounce that, and Macky Sall sat up, and later on he came on to say, okay, elections will be conducted in December. That is prolonging his term in office, and they said no. They still went to the streets. But with us, I'm coming to a thematic area where we are seeing the two countries. We are putting them on a scale to see which one is more practicing when it comes to transparency, because these elections were conducted on Sunday, results came out Monday morning. You can imagine. But in a country that is more populated than us, because I think last election we registered was this 4 million or 5 million votes, if I'm not mistaken. But Senegal recorded 7 point something votes of valid vote cast. So you can imagine. But in a country where, look at our differences, but ours will take a month and plus weeks.
Yeah, but before the elections come out, and I think after everything, in as much as the former president of Senegal was hesitant to come out, but at least he finally left.
Yeah.
because he never went in for a constitutional reform, which of course maybe he could have just turned into a dictator and say no, a constitutional reform goes on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here till
eternity.
And that's what has been happening in our countries. The constitution is being turned one morning, it favors this angle, the next day it turns, it's just been turned today and the day after, and so on. I think we need to wake up, Larry. We really need to wake up, and if we are democracy, we should practice democracy. And if we don't want to do democracy, we shouldn't hide that we are one.
All right, we move away from that Senegalese story on the 44-year-old was elected president to pilot the affairs of that West African democracy. We talk something else now. We crossed over to the Guardian Post for this morning. The Guardian Post of Christian Guy report on Yaoundé, Boisson du Cameroon inaugurates 21 billion CFA francs worth factory extension of that set company formerly known as Brasseries du Cameroon that has metamorphosed to Boisson du Cameroon.
I don't know if you say that's an achievement. I really don't know.
Economically, yes. Economically, on the economic point of view,
okay.
I would say yes.
Okay, but I would learn why I have a worry.
Yeah.
I was scrolling this morning and I saw on one of the news blogs, it talked about Cameroonians consumed over 1 billion liters of alcohol in the previous year, and it's just to tell you on what footing we are on in the country. I don't know if it's maybe because of the unemployment that we see there is a high consumption.
Unemployment is everywhere. It's everywhere.
I don't know if it's the frustration or if it's the happiness.
What happiness? You cannot be happy when you don't have money in your pocket.
I hear Cameroon is the 12th happy country in Africa.
I think one of the top 10. I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the happiness. We are so happy we go on drinking. But I think on another stand, this is impressive. It's impressive to see the economic strides which is because of course employment will come to Cameroonians and you name it. But on another scale, there are some challenges which this will pose to us,
to the youth.
To the youth. But of course, there is nothing we can really do about it because it's always a choice.
Because we see in a country like Nigeria, they are far more populated than us. Nigeria is having close to 200 plus million people. But the rate of alcohol that is consumed there is not consumed here in our country. But we are just like, let's say, 25 or 27 or 28 million people or Cameroonians. But you see the volume. We do so much. And it baffles me a lot. What accounts for such?
I don't know. It may be an issue of culture.
What kind of culture is that?
I don't know. Maybe we talk about the angle of phone culture. I don't know if that in any way is what is affected. And maybe not. This might just be other things which trigger us into drinking. And then with the current socio-political instability, I think people out of frustration, people have lost their houses. Don't ask me where they get money from. And maybe with the rise in cocoa prices, I think 2025 the statistics will increase because cocoa prices have risen, meaning that people will have much more money. So the farmers will shack this year. Oh boy. It's impressive for Brasseries du Cameroon and
Boisson du Cameroon. They have changed their names.
Boisson du Cameroon. I would have raised doubt or thoughts why it didn't come to English-speaking Cameroon, which we know used to drink so much. But with the current socio-political instability, it's no gainsaying that their supplies in this part of the country has dropped, and their establishments have even been vandalized. So we cannot even think about them.
A locality like Moyoka, you go there. It's a shadow of itself. Nobody's there.
Definitely. And just in Bamenda, few weeks, a week or two ago, we had a driver who was carrying these drinks being shot. And his truck had to hit on another car, and I think another person died. So it's just to tell you, I don't know if to call it a rebellion or what, which has been raised against them. So of course, there's no thought about them coming over with such a huge project to this side of the country. And I think it's as well an appeal to all of us. We are in one way or another hindering our own economic growth and progress. So I think it's time we rethink.
All right. Away from that, we talk on this one to boost food productivity. Tuba may donate over 100,000 high-yielding cassava cuttings to farmers in the Tuba Bafut constituency of the Northwest region, according to the Guardian Post.
According to the Guardian Post, I think this story is impressive to see how much the Tuba mayor will support the farmers. But it won't end there. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. But when these farms of cassava are ripe, they'll need to be transported to the market. So as the council is giving out cassava seedlings, cassava cuts to the farmers, they should as well think about providing roads which will link these farms to the market. And why not support farmers or farming groups which are which convert these cassava into maybe finished products. I don't know the finished products. I don't know if there's maybe a cassava factory in Tuba Boyo, in Tuba,
I don't think so.
and I mean just a local factory to produce maybe cassava flour, because in the southwest here I know of Casvita, because at the end of the day, if you give these cassava seedlings and they are just being used to feed for immediate consumption, then there is a problem. These are high yielding seedlings, and we should think about building replacing flour. You know, when the issue of flour prices went up, I was concerned because I thought that with the rise in flour prices, it was now thinking time for us to think about cassava flour, potatoes flour, and all of these local crops we have to meet up to the demand in flour. But it looked like to an extent no one was really talking so much about it. So as much as these cuttings have been given to the farmers, I think as well the council should go a step further to see how much can be put in place in terms of transformation facilities to transform this local or this cassava into finished products or semi-finished products which can be consumed by the local population or can have an increased value, because cassava, of course it's not that economically valuable, but once it's been transformed, it can be used to produce maybe pop. The value of course increases, and it helps to solve peculiar problems.
And why not exporting it, the same products?
Definitely.
Because the head of state is speaking of how is it called? Import substitution. But he's not talking on export substitution too. Because you are, as a nation, while you are doing import substitution, you need to be doing export substitution to sell yourself and have a greater market. Buzi, we talk something else this time around, politics with Expression Politique for today. It says Parliament, Kavere Jibril and Masenyat Difenji re-elected on the forceps. What do you make? You were saying earlier on about these two gentlemen, and now we are on their matter.
It's their house.
All right.
It's for Kavayege, for example. He's been home for over 3 decades. It's his home.
3 decades plus, I think 32 or 34.
So it's his home. He just feels at home. Every elections, he's back again. I don't know sometimes if there are not other people who've been in parliament for quite some time who can handle these top jobs. It's a call for concern. I don't know if in the Senate, the Senate has been running. I think this is the third
legislature.
The Senate is on. I don't know if there are not capable people in the Senate who can try it, because we see like the Senate president returning from treatment abroad. He was frail.
Medical, according to some points, according to that paper, Expression Politique, Expression Politique, not Economique, Expression Politique, it talks of how he was flown back to the country in a medicalized aircraft.
And other sources talk about him being hospitalized as he was brought brought back, and he's been re-elected. At that age, I think he needs some rest, and coupled with all the stress, he served the nation in various capacities. He's done so many things for Cameroon. I think sometimes it should be his personal conscience, a personal decision.
All right.
I know they don't send people away, but it should be his personal decision to say, at least I've worked and I'm tired. I think I need some rest. Because at the end of the day, you end up punishing yourself.
Yeah.
You end up punishing yourself. You have people in your locality, in your village. So after working for all these years, don't you think there is a need to go back, commune with them, live the local life, enjoy?
Rest.
And don't you think you may end up even living longer?
That's the thing.
Food for thought.
That is it. All right, so we move away from that. We crossed over to Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune of Marie-Claire Nana talks of the innovations put in place by Elections Cameroon to war new potential voters on the electoral registrar of ELECAM as general elections will be coming next year, 2025. What do you make of these new innovations put in place by Elections Cameroon?
And innovations, as always. What are the innovations, and how impactful or how effective will these innovations be? We're just a year to elections in Cameroon. We have the municipal, parliamentary, and then the presidential. How many youths have registered? These strategies which they say they are putting in place, what is the target? And by the end of this year, how many youths? Because that is the core which we should be looking at elections. If they are targeting many more people to enroll in electoral registers, then it should be the youths first and foremost, because they form the greater majority of the country.
Sure.
You cannot be targeting most people advanced in age, because that population is very small. So we should be looking at the youth, and first of all, getting the election cards. Now, how visible are these strategies? How visible are these strategies? And now we will go back to how convincing people are about the electoral system as a whole. Because most people will tell you they don't vote because there is this Protestant prayer, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be.
Voters apathy.
So, how trustworthy is Election Cameroon in the first place? Do Cameroonian youths, I would emphasize on Cameroonian youths, do they trust ELECAM? ELECAM should think about that. If not, why not?
Okay.
And so from there, they should start looking at solutions, bettering these upcoming elections, for us to see the changes which the people want. If the strategies have been put in place, of course, we get our fingers crossed. We expect to see results. Unless we see those results, we think they are just songs which have been sung over the years.
All right, let's cross over now to Bamenda with Larry's Times. Larry's Times for today talks on Dr. Christopher Fomunyo inspires IDPs of TFF Youth Center. This is the former Undersecretary General of the United Nations Organization, who have making his voice heard concerning various global and national topics in the country. Now, coming to this internally displaced persons who are from this TFF Youth Empowerment Center, isn't that a glimmer of hope for them?
It definitely puts on hope. You know, anything that has to do with the youth is definitely inspiring. It's definitely what calls for attention at this point in time, because I think to an extent the youth they've lost focus, and they are chasing other things, and they don't even know what is necessary at this point in time. So to have something focused towards the youth, which will be able to orientate them, give them the right perspective, give them the right development, especially from a mind like Dr. Christopher Fomunyo, I think it's teaching time.
Okay.
And definitely, if people of his caliber and class around the nation will be able to put the youths to task, will be able to empower the youth, talk to the youth, meet the youth, interact with the youth, I think in the near future would have more vision and would have more results from the Cameroonian youth.
All right, still in that said paper, we crossed over to this other story of the said publication that talks of the prosecution or final judgment of those accused of masterminding the kidnapping, torture of journalist Martinez Zogo begins.
The Martinez Zogo affair, I don't know if that's how legal proceedings, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
And if the case is beginning now, it means it's going to take a very long time as well.
Imagine.
Considering the caliber of people, definitely it will be a fist fight. Guilty, not guilty, and the rest. Martinez Zogo, his trial begins from what I took from the last appearance in court. I discovered that there is a whole lot, maybe like other court cases, but this case as well has its complications. Because we're looking at someone from, I read that from an article by Ashun Yenti of the CLTV. Complications coming in like Martinez Zogo, who is the wife, this, that, and all of those complications.
Your wife is there.
And there was another figure. There was another figure who it looks like they have had a marriage earlier on. So
that's Cameroon for us. You can never say you can.
So it's a little bit complicated. But away from all of those distractions, I think the law, it may work slowly, but it works surely, and the perpetrators, we hope they are brought to book, and it should be sent out as a warning to all those as well who think that they could use their positions, their power, their influence to do and to undo. There is of course 99 days for the thief
and 1 day for the owner of the house. All right, let's talk on this CPDM rally in the Bamenda town. That's your hometown, of course, where you hold so dearly to your heart. According to Larry's Times, he talks of CPDM celebrated 39th anniversary, rallying for unity, support, urging Biya to organize early presidential elections. This was the message from the special envoy from the Central Committee of the CPDM party, that is Philemon Yang, who made this pronouncement over there at the Bamenda Congress Hall, the birthplace of the CPDM party.
It's impressive, first of all, Larry, to see this kind of turnout of CPDM militants in Bamenda. Okay, and it had to be anyway.
Okay.
Because that was when the party was born.
Yeah.
So it's very significant to the history of the party and to the political landscape of Cameroon. Mind you, President Paul Biya had said Bamenda is his second home. I don't know if that's a political statement or for real.
According to him.
And I think, whatever the case, the CPDM is 39 years old. And they were back in Bamenda. I think as well it was the time for them to look back. 39 years down the line with the CPDM, what has been the achievements? I think definitely during this rally, so many of those achievements were sung on voice top.
They have stadiums, they have built stadiums.
I don't know which stadium you're talking about.
Olympics there.
I'm talking about the people concerned.
I know.
That is Bamenda.
That's what they not okay.
In the northwest region,
but they'll tell you the Bamenda ring road is
of course. I know
Babajo Bamenda road is on course.
That would be a very strong
The Bamenda gas plan is very soon will see the light of day.
You know the Bamenda Babajo road will be a very strong song in the 2025 presidential elections, because they'll be like promise made, promise kept, and
give us your votes.
I think whatever the case, Bamenda is the birthplace of the CPDM. I don't know if it owes the CPDM a lot or the CPDM owes it a lot, but as it stands today, Bamenda has played a very pivotal role as it concerns political development in this country. We have as well the SDF, which was born there. So the people of Bamenda are very sensitive people when it concerns the general politics of this country. If they think the CPDM has delivered well, is their thought, and if not, then definitely 2025 is not far from now.
Of course. We move over to the parliamentary newspaper, Écho Parlement. Écho Parlement for today talks of Senate at the National Assembly. So these are the new faces that will be heading the different commissions of the Senate and the National Assembly. You have the faces of the said persons who are heading the various, some call them juicy commissions or juicy committee.
Juicy committees,
yeah, so
for real.
So you can imagine, because it comes with a lot of benefits.
Definitely, it comes with a lot of benefits. And first of all, I'll start by saying congratulations to them. Though I see a lot of old faces. I know that's always the business, old faces. Over the years, they're the same people on the commission. I could picture Luc Rene, one-time governor of the Northwest region, and a host of others.
Yeah.
Now they are back again to their positions, to their natural positions. We are expecting them to deliver. You see, Larry, one thing which Cameroonians want is people to deliver. I think if these people deliver, no one will care so much if you've been there 40 years, 60 years, whatever. If you really deliver to the expectation of the people will to an extent forget how long
your flaws.
Yeah, how your flaws and how long you've been there. So I think some of these people are old faces. They've been there for quite some time, and if they go back, bring in strategies, try to do some new things, do things in a better way, definitely. And we see changes in the Senate, in the Parliament, not just the natural sing-song. They go in, year out for parliamentary sittings, and nothing really newsy is, of course, heard from the Parliament. Just the traditional meetings, people sleeping, and everything.
Some are not even coming for session.
Of course, some of them have gone out of age, and some of them are even the ones leading this commission. So you don't expect them.
Most of them are always absent
their
during
sick beds
session
to make it up to these parliamentary sessions. I think we should as well be thinking about young faces leading some of these.
Juicy commissions.
Some of these juicy commissions, because looking across them, we can see very few young persons, if at all any young person, and as well we will be looking at gender balance. I can see 4 women.
Yeah.
4 women or 5 maximum, but I think my eyes see.
No, that's
4.
5.
Okay, 5.
That's 5.
And we're looking at close to 18 or near
21.
21.
Yeah, 5 women out of 21.
21, and
women.
I think those for gender equality will be definitely raising their voices.
Gender balance.
We need more women.
Yeah.
And maybe just an extra, like the CPDM faculty, we say they even want a female House Speaker, a female Senate President. So I think as well, looking through this, other concerns come up like gender representation. I think the women deserve more seats.
Yeah.
I tell you, the women have been doing tremendous work.
Yeah.
And the women who always stand up, they are always up to the task. And I think giving them more opportunity will better the country, because definitely they'll have a heart sometimes to the things which matter to Cameroonians.
And according to statistics, numerically, women are more than men in Cameroon and around the world.
And around the world.
Yeah. We talk something else with Expression Economy for today. Talks of the performance rate of the Douala Port Authority headed by Cyrus Ngor. The paper celebrates the Douala Port Authority for being outstanding over these past years, as that set logistic site has been pumping a lot of billions of CFA francs to the Cameroon State Treasury.
It's congratulations first of all to them. The Douala Port Authority. First of all, when I hear about it, I think about the Limbe Deep Sea Port project. How far it has gone?
Not
when
far.
are we expecting and maybe I might deviate a little bit to the Tico International Airport. When are we expecting it?
Very soon. According to those as official.
Back now to the business. Every Cameroonian, most of the times when they always hear billions have been pumped in, the first question they ask is, where's the money?
Where's the money? State Treasury, of course.
And definitely these are rhetorical questions, which of course we don't want an answer for. But I think it's impressive to see how much the Douala port is functioning, and as well think it definitely can do more. It can of course do more if some infrastructural reforms are put in place, and definitely we want to see in much more money coming so that the needs of Cameroonians from the north, from the east, from the west, and from the south can be met, like living standards bettered, and we become more happy. I think it's a congratulations to the port authorities, and as well a call for them to see how to sort out the problems, because there are a plethora of problems which people face, especially using ship transport. I don't know if it's peculiar to Cameroon, but we've had so many people complaining about going to pick up their goods and the procedures. You would have to settle these. There are some uncalled for illegitimate practices being carried out by some custom officials, and so much more. So I think as well, if all of that is handled very well, maybe the port will be able to produce more money to be invested in the Cameroon economy.
All right, we'll move away from that. We crossed over to something else this time around. Still with that set paper of Expression Economy, the paper reports on this U.S. standard rating or economic rating known as Standard & Poor, that is S&P, will forecast increase of economic growth in Cameroon, as that will be the case of 2024 and the preceding years after 2024. What do you make of this forecasting of Standard & Poor, which is a veritable economic forecast for most in the world, international standards, as its headquarters is based in New York? Standard & Poor S&P gave this increase of Cameroon's economy for 2024 and the preceding years.
An economic increase, Larry, is no news. What were we supposed to be doing? Were we supposed to decrease?
Not after we have had
what
we have had a massive economic meltdown.
We're not the only ones facing that, Larry.
COVID came and
we're not the only country that faced COVID. We're not even the worst country. We're not even one of the worst. So I don't to say economic progress, it's not so much of a news. It might be the rate.
Okay.
What might be interesting to note is the rate, because definitely so much of money is being made year in, year out. The money definitely should be pumped into economic growth. So, but now we're looking at the rate.
Okay.
Will there be a geometric increase? You know what I'm talking about? What increase? How drastic will the increase be? That is what Cameroonians are looking forward to. How drastic? What will be the increase? How tangible will this increase be? I think that is what we should be looking up to, and we should be anticipating. Generally, definitely, there should be an economic growth, economic progress, and you name it. But we want something. Maybe a leap. I don't know how possible that is, but maybe a leap. Yes, that's more mouth-watering. That's more promising, and yes, that's that.
All right, we move away from economic issues to football with the sports paper ActuSport. ActuSport for today says MTN Elite 1 and 2 Championship. After the courtyard, ball returned to the field. We have the scenario where this set MTN Elite 1 and 2 Championship battles were being, the ball were being played in the courtrooms, but now finally we see the resumption of both tournaments that have kickstart all across the nation in the various stadiums.
Larry, football in Cameroon, I don't know if to say has not been the same, because for as long as I know it, football in Cameroon has always had very precarious crises, this, that, from early 1, early 2, the national team. I think we have so many problems.
Okay.
And maybe these issues keep on being recurrent year in, year out, because fundamental issues have not been trashed, right? So I think it's generally a call for the stakeholders, the Minister of Sports, Fekafood, and all other stakeholders to sit together and map a way forward for Cameroon football. All of these fights are not helping us.
Yeah.
They instead bringing us down. All what we count today is we used to be victorious 19 this, 19 that, and we
Past
name
glory.
it.
Past glory.
We have nothing to show forth for in recent years. All what we can do in recent years it's just some complaints. This didn't. I think it's time sports stakeholders sit on ground and chart the future.
Okay.
For Cameroon football, be it Elite 1, be it Elite 2. Mind you, these are people's future.
Sure.
So there might be all these squabbles and nobody seems to care, but these are people's future, and these are disciplines which have the potential of bringing in hundreds of millions into the Cameroon economy, helping so many Cameroonians and so much more. So once this is happening, we need to wake up. Solve the problem, sort out issues, and see how everything could flow on peacefully. That way, we would benefit.
Okay. In that set paper of L'Actu Sport, the paper celebrates two dynamic Cameroonian sportsmen, Emmanuel Eseme Alobwede, who hails from the southwest region, and Ganja, who secured 2 gold medals for Team Cameroon in the just ended All-African Games in Accra, Ghana.
Yeah, and I know Emmanuel Eseme's case, you're very much happy about it. You two are from the same
school,
secondary establishment now, ex-students.
Yeah. You can say that again.
The Sobangs, the way they feel the victory, I like it.
Personal. It's a personal, collective effort.
And it's impressive to see how much Cameroonians are doing out there. And I think as well, this is as well a reminder that sports is not limited to football.
Sure.
For a very long time in Cameroon, until maybe recently, we've known that if you're not a footballer, then you cannot do anything concerning sports.
Okay.
But sports is broad. And there are so many opportunities which are in sports. We have the athletics, which it's rather unfortunate that maybe in our context we have the major one being the mountain race, 10 million
for the winner
for a very long time. But there are other sporting disciplines which have tons of millions turning around. So I think the win of these Cameroonians should should prick other Cameroonians to see how much they could get into athletics. It's not only football. In fact, football these days has become too saturated. Get into athletics. There are other kinds of sports, and I think the
boxing, like
there's boxing like Ngannou, and there is karate, and you name them.
Even
and
golf.
I think as well, it should be an encouragement for the Ministry of Sports to see how much they can do to support some of these sporting disciplines, because so much of attention has been put on football. So it's that if you're not a footballer, they think you don't do sports. But maybe in the rest of the world, footballers as well but other sporting disciplines, they are athletes. For athletics, they earn so much money. So I think it's time for us to start venturing.
Exactly.
Cameroonians can be fast, just like Emmanuel Eseme, and do other disciplines.
All right, we end the program with the last newspaper. Midi Action for this morning comes back to the lady teacher of secondary school in Douala who was beaten to death by her husband. That is Diane as her corpse. Now the hospital, the officials of the Douala hospital mortuary are asking her family members to pay the sum of 1.3 million CFA francs for the corpse to be rendered to them after the set process was stopped by the Justice Department for proper investigation to be carried out on her corpse. But now, since it has taken this long for the corpse to be at the mortuary, who should actually paid for this money? Because I listened, this is a topical issue where I listened to a sister radio station this morning from Douala, speaking to on this situation of Indian cops, where the mortuary bills has risen to 1.3 million CFA francs, and for a corpse to be rendered free to the family. Meanwhile, is a State Department, the Justice Department, that has prevented the family from not carrying out funeral rites, that they are carrying autopsy on that corpse.
You know, Larry, I think I would reason one moment with the juries, because once a case is ongoing, you'd need the cops for this, for that, and various procedures. Sometimes it's tricky, because if the person in such a marriage, if the person had 1 million, for example, the person will not still be in the marriage before they are killing them. Of
course not.
They would have left. Yeah. So it's a little bit tricky, but as well, I think maybe I wouldn't attack the issue straight, but I would say maybe before the marriage kills you, try to leave, because at the end of the day, who pays this money? If they had that money, maybe the person would have not died in the first place, because the person would have been able to leave the marriage, go settle, begin his life from square one, and be happy. But he was there because maybe he did not have any other option to do. And as well, would want to think that. But
this is a lady who is on a state payroll because she was a secondary school teacher.
But once you die, your salary definitely is cut.
Okay.
Okay, you're trying to say she could be self-resilient.
To move away from the marriage.
Maybe she loved her husband too much. Now,
not that you are the detriment of your life.
Now we in a dilemma. This money needs to be paid. Who will pay the money? So you see that at the end of the day, it's more even costly to die than to be alive.
Please, can you just stop such? So there is more costly to die. So you can imagine. No, but it's sad. Don't be laughing. It's a sad scenario. And many are asking the family to get to Madam the Minister Nalova Lyonga for her to assist them, because she was a government. She was from that set ministry, of that set ministry, and we are
but you see, sometimes we should be reasonable. Countless secondary school teachers die year in, year out from.
We are talking on gender-based violence.
From gender-based violence. Yeah. If the